Hello there. Hey, Raph. Sup? It's always funny to me when people start with sup. Hi, welcome to my channel. If you haven't been here before, or if you're watching the replay, I am Kristin, and this is my channel, From Chronic Fatigue to Chronic Abundance, where I talk about how you can start living with more hope and more joy in your life, even while you still have really severe chronic fatigue. Does that sound crazy? I know it probably sounds a little crazy to some people. That's okay. I'm here to explain what that means, what it's like, what it does and does not do for you, and why I think it's important to have this in your life, okay? I call it the healing mindset. The healing mindset is what helps give us more hope and joy and motivation in our lives while we are still discovering our healing journey. It's important to have more hope and motivation in our lives because some days that's all we have. When our energy is so low that we can barely get out of bed, or we're having to choose between making breakfast or getting up and going to the bathroom, life is pretty shitty, okay? There's no getting around that fact. We can live with these facts and accept these facts of how hard life is with severe chronic fatigue, but we don't have to dwell on how hard it is. That's the difference here. Accepting how shitty things are versus dwelling on how shitty things are. We can accept how hard things are. We can accept that the lives we had planned for ourselves have been taken away. We can accept that we can't be the wife, mother, girlfriend, sister, friend that we want to be for right now. And we can still feel that we are worthy and deserving of love, of a good life, of health, of getting back what we had worked so hard for before. All right. So this is my weekly live Q&A. The sun is like super bright today, so I'm going to be squinting a little bit, but that's okay. Bring your questions. I'm going to give you guys some time to start typing up your questions. You can just drop them in the chat. The format here is that I just go down through the chat. I mean, whatever comes in first is what I answer first. We talk about everything. No question is too small or silly or too big or too maybe, off topic. Maybe off topic is the wrong word because there are questions that are off topic that we won't talk about. Nothing is too risque or whatever. Like I will talk about anything on this channel as long as it relates to living with severe chronic fatigue. Awesome. So while you guys are getting your questions ready, I will kind of continue on what I was saying for those of you, if there's anyone on who's new to the channel. I talk about the healing mindset because it is the one thing that helped me heal each time I came down with severe chronic fatigue. Okay. And there were 3 instances where I developed severe chronic fatigue as an adult, and I got my life back each time. Okay. Meaning I healed, and I healed faster each time because I learned how to heal. Now, here's the thing everybody wants to know. I tell them I got better, and they're immediately like, okay, what doctors did you work with? What supplements did you take? And the crazy thing is that I'm one person, and I needed completely different people and different supplements and different blood work and different tests and different everything to heal each time. So I know that there is no one size fits all plan to healing from this. As hard as it is, you're going to have to discover your own healing journey. You're going to have to discover what your body needs to get better. You need to discover the root causes of your illnesses, whether you have lupus or Lyme's disease or fibromyalgia or hypothyroidism or anything else that causes severe chronic fatigue as a symptom. You are going to need different things than I did. So I will not talk specifically about supplements and treatment protocols and things like that, unless they are generally useful to people. Okay. But, if you want to spend time investigating what I needed to get better versus what someone else needed to get better, there are places online, there are forums online. You can go do that. It's not what we do here. what helped me heal every single time and what helped me heal faster every single time was my mindset. Okay. I had developed a healing mindset. The first time I got ill, it took me a couple of years. There was a couple of years where I was just on my ass, completely ill, completely unable to work. Um, yeah, life was really hard and really dark for a long time. But once I figured out the mindset piece of it, healing became much more rapid. Didn't happen overnight. It still took me, gosh, 9 months to a year after I began developing the healing mindset the first time before I actually got better. Okay. It was still a long process, but progress began happening. Um, and I see some stuff happening in the chat. I want to finish this thought real quick. And okay, so I was talking about the healing mindset and how it's still a journey and how it still takes time. But once I developed the healing mindset, yes, once I developed the healing mindset, progress began to happen. I began to get better. Mindset was not all I needed to get better. I needed a lot of other things in addition to the right mindset. Okay. This illness is not in our heads. We cannot think our way better. I didn't think my way better. I'm not telling you that you can. But the right mindset lays the foundation for healing because the right mindset helps us make better decisions for ourselves. It makes it easier to choose to rest when we need to. It shapes how we interact with doctors. It shapes what doctors we choose to go see. It shapes how well we adhere to supplement protocols. It shapes how we approach discovering our healing journey, which is crucially important. And what it also does, the healing mindset also saves us energy every day because it teaches us how to stop dwelling on how shitty our lives are. We can accept that there are a lot of things that really suck about being so ill and having severe chronic fatigue. And yet, we can choose not to carry those heavy emotions around. A lot of people spend a lot of energy on really heavy emotions like shame and guilt and embarrassment and frustration and feeling sad about losing the lives that they used to have. Okay. And those are all valid emotions. It's okay to have those emotions. It's not okay to dwell on them because it's robbing you of your energy. Those emotions take a lot of energy to sustain. All right. And we don't want to sustain those emotions. Healing mindset teaches you how. All right, guys. Back to the chat. Let's see. Hi, Stacy Style. Hello. Yep. Healing mindset. Super, super important. Hi, Jamie. How you doing? Good to see you again. All right. I got a question from Raf. So when did I realize I was healed? It's not like I crossed the finish line. You know, I think there's always progress. Even people who are healthy and have normal lives and stuff, I think everyone could always be healthier. So when are you at the optimal level of healthiness? I mean, I don't think anyone in life, even people who live the cleanest and are the most stress-free ever experience their perfect health, right? Because there's so many facets to health. There's like, how well are you sleeping? How well are you eating? How do you feel? How much are you working out? And there's so many things our bodies need, so many nutrients. And to optimize all of those would just be, I don't even know if it's possible, let alone, I mean, even if it was, it would be an insane amount of work. So I don't think there was like a moment I realized I was healthy. It was more about celebrating little milestones along the way. And then once I accumulated enough milestones, I felt like I could say I have my life back. So little milestones along the way were things like, oh, I could go for a walk today and I didn't have to think about how fast or how slow I was walking. I could walk for a whole 10 minutes without worrying about walking too fast. And then I could do that again and again and again and again. And I could do that for a whole month without crashing. And that felt like a milestone. I was able to go to a party and stay for a few hours and feel good afterwards, not feel completely drained and wasted. Even if I had to be careful about not standing too much, or even if I had to be careful about not drinking too much so that I wouldn't get too tired, the fact that I figured out how to do that and the fact that my health had improved enough to be able to do that felt like a milestone. Other things that felt like milestones in my health. I want to come up with really good specific examples because I think those are more memorable. Let's see. The moment when I could ride a bike around the city for an hour. That was a really big one for me. That felt like a health milestone. Um, being able to work part time again has been a big milestone. And the work that I've done in my career, I work in software. As I would begin to heal, I felt like I could work again. I couldn't work full time in an office again, but I started off very slowly during my healing and recovery process by working part time from home. I would work as little as like 15 hours a week. But, after being that ill for that long, working from home for 15 hours a week felt like a big milestone. And those milestones just accumulate until I got to the point where, oh, I can go back and work in an office full time again. That's a huge milestone. Oh, I can go to the gym once a week. That's a milestone. My health continues improving. Suddenly I can go to the gym whenever I want and work out as hard as I want. That's a huge health milestone. Um, so once I got like the big three in place, I felt like I could say I got my life back. And that was working full time again, um, being able to go to the gym and work out whenever I wanted while working, and then having a social life, feeling like I could plan for social obligations and have very high confidence that I would be able to meet those social obligations, meaning I could plan happy hour in 2 weeks and not be worried about being too exhausted to go, not having to worry about canceling. So yeah, so those three things: working full time again in an office, working out as much as I want, and having a social life again. When I had those three in place each time is when I felt like I could say like, yeah, my life is back. I can be normal again, even if there was still a lot going on in the background. To keep myself healthy, like being really careful about getting enough sleep, making sure I eat really well, making sure I continue getting blood work and make sure I have the right supplements in my life. Um, Getting off of the mitochondrial energy support supplements was another big milestone. Once I didn't need to support my mitochondria anymore, that was definitely a health milestone. So it's going to be different for each person, like what makes you feel like you have your life back. And the milestones aren't anything, they aren't really goals. They're really just milestones. Like you're on this health journey, you're on this path, and you're just going to come across them as you're walking down the journey. It's not like, oh, I'm going to like sprint to that next milestone. That doesn't work. That leads to crashes. so, um, so yeah, I wouldn't say it was one day, one moment. It was just kind of an acceptance of like, okay, I have this thing back, I have this thing back, I have this thing back. I feel pretty freaking good. And it's been almost 5 years since my last crash. Okay. And it took me about a year, no, 7 months, 7 months to recover. Yeah, no. I keep saying I need to write down my timeline. I'm so bad about this. No, so 5 years ago, I had my second, well, let's call it my first relapse, my second health crash, my first relapse. And then 7 months after that, I was getting better, got my life back. I was working again. Things were great. And then I had my second relapse, or AKA my third health crash, 7 months after that. So that one took me like 5 months to get better from. And when I say better, I mean working again, working out again, having a social life. I did still have IBS at that time, but the IBS was not limiting my life in any way. So I don't consider that like still part of um, having severe chronic fatigue, because it also wasn't fatigue. So that was, I guess that we can say that was 4 years ago, since I recovered from my last crash. And I've been great since then, like super solid, like awesome and getting better. And what's cool is that I have autoimmune hypothyroidism. I have Hashimoto's hypothyroidism. And because I've been on this healing journey and I'm so super solid about living super healthy still, that my thyroid antibodies have actually been going down over the years. So I'm actually becoming, I actually have, I don't know how to say this. I have less, no, my autoimmune disorder is less severe than it used to be. All right. And that's still a work in progress, but my doctor thinks that there's hope that I'll be able to eliminate the antibodies and be free of the autoimmune portion of my hypothyroidism, which would just leave me with hypothyroidism, which I will probably have for the rest of my life. Because when you have autoimmune hypothyroidism, it means your immune system is attacking and killing your your thyroid gland, your organ. And because I don't have a fully functioning thyroid organ anymore, I only have part of one, I will probably always need to supplement with thyroid hormone, and I'm okay with that. I don't have any issues with that. I don't consider that a problem because it's easily managed and it's cheaply managed. So here we go. Oh, there's been so much happening in the chat. Oh my gosh, you guys, so much to check up on. I love when you guys have your own little side conversations. It's beautiful. Okay. All right, Raf, how did I deal with people thinking I was ready to work again, but I wasn't? Honestly, that wasn't something I really had to worry about. I didn't have, maybe I'm lucky, I didn't have anyone pressuring me to work again. There was definitely some family who didn't understand why I wasn't working. They didn't understand how bad things were. And they assumed some things of me that just weren't true. And that hurts and it's hard and it sucks, but it just shows me that they're not really in my corner supporting me when they're doubting me so much. And, when someone's pressuring you to do something you're not ready to do, whether it's working or, anything when you have severe chronic fatigue or even just anything in life that you don't want to do, you're not ready to do, you're not willing to do, someone's pressuring you, you have to know your boundaries and hold to it. You need to know what's best for yourself and feel good about sticking to that and just coping with the fact that someone doesn't believe you and someone thinks they know what's better for you than you know what's better for you. The important thing to remember in those scenarios is that they're pressuring you has nothing to do with you. It's not a reflection of you or what you should be doing. It doesn't make you wrong. All it does is show you a little bit about them and that they're kind of control freaks and that they're the kind of person who thinks they know better than somebody else what's good for them. When we can't, no one can know what's better for another. No autonomous adult can know what's better for another autonomous adult. All right. Oh, Stacy liked Raf's question. We have Nika. Hi, Nika. Have I ever had light and noise sensitivities? Yes. The cool part about that, though, is that they went away as the rest of my health got better. They were not permanent. They were not something I had to address directly. It was really about getting tons and tons and tons of blood work done and working with the right specialists and practitioners and doctors who were able to diagnose my root causes and then treat those root causes. And there were many, many root causes for me. As I suspect, there are probably many, many root causes for many of us. So just to talk about light and noise sensitivities quickly, they are super common in people who have severe chronic fatigue. Not everybody has it, but many, many do. And what this looks like is, bright light. Like right now, I've actually been sitting in bright, direct sunlight. Before, when I was ill, that would have been exhausting to me. Exposure to light that was too bright definitely just left me feeling drained and exhausted. And then the noise sensitivity is actually a really big one because it's not just about being sensitive to loud noises. It's also about being exhausted by loud noises or even noises, maybe if they aren't that loud, if they're constant, they can be very draining. Like if someone's traveling, if you're on a train, if you're on an airplane, especially, the noise of the engines and the air on the plane are constant. and absolutely exhausting to people with severe chronic fatigue. In fact, it's slightly exhausting even to normal people. It's very common for even just healthy, normal people to feel really tired after spending a lot of time on a plane. And part of that is because it takes energy for our brains to filter out that noise. So if you have light and noise sensitivities and you have to be out and about, whether this is traveling to and from work, going to get groceries, you're on an airplane, if you really need it, I would recommend carrying a dark pair of sunglasses around so that you can control the intensity of the light exposure to your eyeballs. I would also recommend getting a really good pair of earplugs. You can get really cheap earplugs at just any like CVS or like any like pharmacy, at least in the US, that's how it works. I like to get the clear wax ones because they mold, it's moldable, and they fit over the hole in your ear canal instead of going inside, which can be bad for your ear. They just fit right, it just seals right over the top. They're really great. In fact, I'm going to be on an airplane tomorrow and I'm going to be bringing the wax to help seal it. I also have noise canceling headphones that are really great at cutting out the constant, just like drum that you hear when you're on an airplane. And it also allows me to listen to some music if I want to. So, yes, I had those. Yes, I had to manage that, but they did not last forever and they went away as my energy came back. Let's see, Raf, your sleep improved a ton since you moved. Didn't bring the big chance and energy anticipated. Oh, you didn't? Okay, so Raf, it sounds like you're saying that because your sleep improved, you expected your energy to improve as well, but that didn't happen. Is that what you're saying? Because yeah, I would have expected a little bit of improvement in your energy from sleep being better because it's definitely super, super important. But here's the thing about sleep when you have like really severe chronic fatigue like this, it's not just sleep deprivation. There's a lot of other things going wrong in the body typically. So I'm not super surprised you didn't have a huge change in energy right away. I think what will happen though is over time, because your body's better rested, because you're sleeping better, I think that your body's healing capabilities are getting stronger. What's probably happening is that every day your body's able to make a little more progress on healing itself. So I would expect after a few months that you start just feeling a little better generally, and maybe hopefully that will continue for you. That's kind of what I would expect from this. Like normal people are super sleep deprived, and when they start sleeping better, they get all better. All right. But if it were that simple for any of us, we'd have figured this out by now. and it just sounds like yours isn't that simple. Like mine wasn't that simple. So, let's see. All right. Stacy's getting acquainted. She also has the light and noise sensitivities. Let's see. Oh, it just skipped. Okay. Jamie wants to make a video when completely healed. It's okay if you're camera shy. People don't always believe this about me, but oh God, this is so long ago. I'm dating myself. 16 years ago, when I graduated high school, I was unbelievably shy. Like the story I tell everybody, and this is a true story, this actually happened. I was so shy. I went to the grocery store to get some tomato sauce. And for whatever reason, I just couldn't find the tomato sauce. Like I thought I'd walked up and down every aisle and I didn't know where it was. And, a normal person is just going to go find someone who works at the store and ask them like, hey, where's the tomato sauce? The mere thought of talking to someone I didn't know just to ask for where the tomato sauce is left me with severe anxiety. My heart was racing. My mind went blank. My palms got clammy and cold and sweaty. And I literally just like froze. I was like paralyzed. I couldn't even walk towards the person who worked there because I was so terrified of speaking to them. Okay. And now I can do stuff like this. It took 16 years, or maybe I should say less than that because I've been doing these videos for a couple of years now. And it's been a slow, kind of like healing. It's been a very slow, continuous journey to stop being so shy and to learn how to talk in front of people and have real conversations and be comfortable. Like I don't even get the slightest bit anxious to do these videos anymore. I'm just excited to do them. And I love it. It's totally worth all the work it took to get over my shyness. Wouldn't totally recommend pouring a ton of energy into that right now. You have bigger priorities, which is getting your health back. But if you really want to start making videos, you absolutely can. And you can absolutely get over that shyness. And the best thing to do is to fake it till you make it. That's what I did. That's part of what I did. Let's see, Ruff. Yeah, Raf says that most people who have healed from CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome, talk about all sorts of alternative therapies, and Raf's not a huge fan of that. Yeah, Raf, I'm not a fan of that either. I never got better from somebody else telling me what worked for them. Because you know what? If there's 1,000 people who healed from this, there are 1,000 different stories of what helped them heal. You know, like, I wish it wasn't this way, but we all need to be out there experimenting and trying things and working with knowledgeable practitioners to find out what works for us. And we need to lead our own healing journeys. We can't leave it up to the doctors to lead our healing journeys for us. We've got to be in the driver's seat. Yeah, I agree with Nika. Jamie, you should totally do a video. And Raph will make one too if you do it. That's so cool. Jamie feels really close. Oh, Jamie, you're back to working full time. That is so awesome. Congratulations. Congrats. Huge progress. Massive. You feel like you need to get through the last 40% or so. Totally fair. And it sounds like you know what you need to do to get there. It sounds like you found what you needed to get to that 60%. And it's just going to take a lot more effort and diligence and some grit. But if you keep working at it, you're going to get there. It's a beautiful part of the healing journey and the healing mindset. Hey, Jack. Oh, yeah, Jack is still bedbound. So sad for Jack. Oh, yeah, Nico was bedbound and can now manage a 15-minute walk 3 times a day. That is huge. Absolutely massive and exciting. Oh my God, you guys, I love hearing these progress stories. I love hearing about how you've gotten better. All right, let's see. Okay, Jamie was bedbound at 2 points. It's not permanent though. It's not, Jamie. You're so right. Oh, I love the support you guys are giving each other. Yeah. Okay, Raf. You said that was what you meant with the sleep. But yeah, just to recap my response to that, it was about I wouldn't expect to see a huge jump in your energy because the root cause of your fatigue is not lack of sleep. All right. Getting more sleep is going to help you heal long term, but it's going to be more about that slower, progressive, continual change that you'll start to notice over time, over months, probably. Oh, Raph, oh my goodness, you're bedridden from 2014 to 2016. That's a long time. Oh my God, it pains me to hear that you were that bad. And yet you've progressed to the point where you just went through a big move. You just switched homes over the past 6 weeks, packing and moving and unpacking and managing people helping you and saying goodbye to neighbors. And oh my God, you went through so much. Far from bedridden. You're far from bedridden. Sun's moving. It's gonna move out of the shade here. Let's see. taking my pillows I'm sitting on with me. All right. Raf is asking, how do I deal with self-esteem issues? You feel unworthy when you don't see yourself working in the near future. This was a big one for me. The first time I got ill, I, had been super ill for about 2 years, out of work for like a year and a half total. And I finally found the first practitioner who really, really helped me get better. And I've talked about her before. She was someone who had a very similar story to mine, same line of work. Her health just completely crashed rapidly out of nowhere. She had multiple autoimmune disorders. She could barely walk. She had no energy. Severe brain fog. Had to leave her job. Her husband left her as a result of all of this because he didn't understand. And she figured out how to get better. So she was absolutely someone I wanted to work with because she understood me. And what she recommended helped me a lot, but it was not everything I needed. So like she was a very, very important like stepping stone on my journey. And I don't think I would not be here where I am today doing what I'm doing without her. She was that critical and crucial, even if she wasn't everything I needed to heal. And, this was during my first health crash, my first major health crisis. And I came to her one day and I said, Simla, I don't know who I am anymore. I used to be a consultant. I used to be a really good consultant. I used to get great reviews. I got promoted fast. I got huge raises very quickly. I got bonuses. And now I can't work. I'm not a consultant anymore. I used to be a CrossFitter. I used to love CrossFit. I was thinking about training for the CrossFit Games. And I can't work out anymore. I used to want to be a certain like type of person as a friend and as a girlfriend, and I can't be those things anymore. I used to be really smart, and now I can barely think of the right word when I'm speaking a sentence. Like, I don't know who I am anymore. And she paused for a moment. And I could kind of sense that she was really happy for me, which seemed a little weird. I was like, I just came to her with this huge problem. And basically what she said to me is she said along the lines of, and yet here you still are. You still exist without having those labels, without being those things. She's like, maybe those things never were who you are. Maybe there's something deeper. And that was the first time I really got in touch with this inner self. And it took years of work, but I eventually began to identify as that inner self, as that being that is, whether I'm healthy or sick, awake or sleeping. I can do anything and still be who I am. I can choose to go back to consulting. I can choose to go be a CrossFitter again. But there is something internal that is worthy and deserving and loving and existing. That is really my identity and who I am. So, Raf, I bring that up because I also shared this massive guilt and this massive feeling of worthlessness when I wasn't working and I wasn't bringing in the income I used to be. And that was because I tied my self-worth and my self-identity to being the person who earns a certain amount of money and who works a certain amount of hours and who does and accomplishes certain things. And it really helped me let go of that guilt. And it helped me let go of those self-esteem issues. And it helped me develop more self-worth and more self-love and more self-compassion by identifying with that person who is. instead of defining myself as someone who needs to earn X amount of dollars every year. And don't get me wrong, I love earning X amount of dollars every year. It's fun and it's great and it's wonderful. It creates a lot of options and opportunities. Um, but even without that, I am still worthy of an amazing life and all the things that I want. Like I've shared with you guys on this channel a number of times, I'm currently in the middle of a hiatus. This is actually the middle of month 3 for me, where I gave up X dollars per year because it left me miserable. And I'm currently working towards building a company that is going to make me multiples, hopefully multiples of what I used to make, and set me up for the freedom that is actually important to the person inside, to the person who can do anything, right? To the new sense of Kristin that I identify with. And it was still a little hard. I still had like a transition period of like making money to living off of my savings. Um, where again I felt unworthy. I felt less than. I didn't feel like I deserved good things because I wasn't making money. And like I said, I've been through that before and I was able to catch it and work through it in just like a week or two. Um, and now I'm back to feeling really good about myself because I'm doing what's important to the Kristin inside, to the real me, not just worrying about this external identity of someone who makes this much money. Um, so, so I think that answers your question. What have I done to deal with the self-esteem issues? It's really about reconnecting with the person you actually are inside, that part of you that exists, regardless of what you're doing or not doing, regardless of the state of your life. And learning and believing that that person is worthy, is lovable, deserves compassion, deserves a good life. And focusing on that more than focusing on not working. I think that's what I have to say about that. If you have more questions around that, more clarifying questions, I'm happy to talk about that one more because I know that's a big one that a lot of people deal with. And it's a tricky one because our society, especially in the US, I'm sure it's like this in other countries as well, like the UK, where there's so much pressure to do and perform, and you're worthless if you're not contributing in some way. All right. But we all have times when we can't contribute. And when you're as ill as you are, you can't. And that needs to be okay. As long as you're taken care of, it's okay. And I will always have a place for you in my community on my YouTube channel, whether or not you're working. I don't care how much money you are or are not making. I don't care how you're making ends meet. What I care about is, are you doing the best thing for your health? Because that's your number one priority, period. Oh, good, Raph. I'm glad your acid reflux is getting better. Yep. Reduce fat intake. Oh, interesting. Fatty acids relax your esophagus. I had no idea. All right. I'm glad the tips helped, Raph. All right. Jamie agrees on that one about self-worth and self-love and self-compassion and identifying with the being inside of us. Some people would refer to that as a soul or a spirit. I personally don't use those words. That doesn't resonate with me because I grew up religious and those words have different meanings for me. So I don't really have a good word for it, except it's just the real me, the inner part of me, the internal me, not the external stuff we apply. Jack, I always found my practitioners online. Yeah, always found them online. Um, I know you're in the UK, so I'm not really familiar with the options to find doctors over there, but there are websites that people have started collecting of practitioners who specialize in poorly understood chronic illnesses like chronic fatigue. And I'd recommend searching those, like finding those databases and then spend some time searching through those and really researching and investigating the doctors on there before setting up meetings with them. Like my current doctor I see, he's just outside of Philadelphia. It can be anywhere from like an hour to an hour, 15-minute trip for me each way to go see him. So it's a really big time commitment because he also has hour-long meetings, which is fantastic. I mean, how many doctors have hour-long meetings anymore? Not many. So I found him online. He came highly rated. I checked out his website. The content on his website was great, but his website looked like it was built in 1985. It was so old and crappy. I almost didn't go see him because of how untrustworthy his website made him seem. I'm still so glad I paid more attention to the content on the website than the design of it because he's actually a fantastic doctor. I've been working with him for 4.5 years now. And he continues to be a huge ally in me continuing to um, improve my health further, continue to detox stuff so it's not a future later in my life, and be proactive about my health instead of just reactionary. Now that he helps me get my energy back. So like I said, my current doctor I found online. The woman I talked about earlier, who had gone through very similar circumstances to me, who I worked with, I found her online. My current doctor takes insurance. This woman before I worked with years ago did not take insurance, but she was worth every penny out of pocket. It's just anyone I've worked with who's helped me, I found online. So here's the thing, Jack. You asked, did I have to jump from doctor to doctor before finding the right one? In my journey, in my experience, there is no one doctor who's right. I needed different people to help me in different ways at different times. And I know that that can be a frustrating answer. It can sound exhausting to a lot of people to say that even if you find one great doctor, you're probably going to have to keep searching for other doctors who can help you with other parts of your healing journey. But that's been my experience. So there's the right doctor for right now. There's the doctor who specializes in what my biggest problem is today, or who can help me uncover what that problem is today. But then as I begin working on that and that gets better, my body and my health transform. For me, other issues surfaced. Or like there was like the next biggest issue that then became the biggest and needed to be dealt with. And I needed someone else to work with that. Like this woman I worked with, Simla, my mindset for a long time, my mindset was actually the biggest thing preventing me from getting better because my mindset was so poor. I was so stuck in heavy emotions. I was hating myself so immensely every day, feeling so guilty, feeling so worthless, constantly at battle with myself that I was wasting an enormous amount of energy every day on feeling crappy, emotionally feeling crappy. I mean, there's feeling physically crappy because we're sick, but the emotional crap that I put myself through was massive and weighed me down and kept me in the sympathetic, stressful response in your body. If you're not familiar with this, if you haven't heard me talk about this, we have two nervous systems in our body. We have the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight. Yeah, the parasympathetic nervous system is the rest and digest system in our body. And that is the mode where our immune system is most highly activated. All right. If we're going to heal from really severe illness, we need our bodies to be in rest and digest mode as much as possible. And I was never in rest and digest mode until I worked with Simla. She's the one who helped me begin developing the healing mindset, who got me on that path and helped me realize that caring about myself was important. Not hating myself was important. How I felt about my illness was important. Because once I got my mindset right and I began meditating, that was when I was finally supporting my body to heal. When I was always stressed out about being sick, I was preventing my body from going fully into healing mode. Once my body got fully into healing mode, all the other things I was doing began working a lot better. I wasn't working against myself anymore. So here's the thing, like I needed Simla to teach me that mindset piece. But then after that, she didn't have what I needed to get over the rest of my health issues. And that's okay. You know, like the doctor I have now does not work on mindset. If I had seen him without ever working with Simla, the things he's had me do probably would not have worked anywhere near as well as they did, because I would still always be stressed out and in fight or flight mode. My body would not be able to heal as well as it does today. So it's not about finding the one right doctor. It's about finding the person you need right now and being open to the idea that might change over time as your health changes and your body's needs change. Jamie, that was a big breakthrough in your recovery journey so far. That's right, so far. I love that, like the self-worth piece is so big for you too, because it really is. I don't see enough people talking about it in chronic health communities. Everybody's so focused on supplements and treatments and diet, and those things are not unimportant, but we need to stop working against ourselves first. And we need to get our bodies into that healing mode. And that only happens when we feel safe. And we don't feel safe when we're hating each other every day, hating ourselves every day. We need to be loving ourselves to feel truly safe and to really unlock that parasympathetic rest and digest healing modality in the body. Wrath, it's okay. It's okay if you don't feel worthy just because you are. It is work and it takes time to really sink in to that knowledge. What helped me was meditation, because I would meditate in a specific way, which actually I've taught here before using the secret handshake. Those secret handshake meditations are the ones that really helped me unlock the healing mindset, where I would calm down and I would experience myself in a different way when I was calm. When I was in parasympathetic mode, I experienced my life and I experienced my body and I experienced my choices in a different way from a different place. And I kind of had to see it in action before I could believe it. Oh, it sounds like they're vacuuming the hallway. I hope that's not too loud. I had to see that feeling good in my body, feeling in that relaxed state in my body actually did help my health get better before I could really start caring about myself and caring about how I felt. I need to see that actually had an impact first. So it is a process to begin loving yourself again. It doesn't happen overnight. It still takes months. It still took me months to care about myself enough to begin healing faster. And it's something I still work on sometimes. I still have my moments where I kind of regress. I need to be reminded that I'm worthy, I'm lovable, I need to have self-compassion, Okay? So what I would challenge you to do is, if you don't feel worthy and you don't feel like you love yourself, you don't have compassion for yourself right now, ask yourself, what would I do if I did? And start doing those things, all right? Start there. Start faking it. If you don't feel love for yourself, you don't feel worthy, start acting as if you did. One way to do this, if you ask yourself, well, if I cared about myself, what would I do? And nothing comes to mind, you can ask yourself, well, if my best friend in the whole world was living with this condition and they didn't love themselves, what would I want them to do? What would I tell them to do for themselves? Okay. And sometimes it's easier to answer that question about what would you tell someone else to do than what would you want yourself to do. And once you can think about what you tell someone else to do, then do that for yourself. All right. And over time, as you see the impact these types of actions have on you, you'll slowly become more convinced and you'll slowly start feeling more of that self-care come into your life. That's how I would start. Jamie, absolutely. If anyone is judging you based on your worth and what you earn, they're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. They are not someone you need or want in your life. Okay. But when you are that person judging yourself, you need to knock it off. mm, well, yeah. I mean, yeah, Raf. I mean, my boyfriend's uncle died of esophageal cancer from having silent acid reflux. So it definitely is something to take very seriously. So I'm glad you're taking it seriously. I hope you're not still stressing about that, but it is good that it's better and that you're figuring out what is working for you. That's what it's all about. Raf, of course, it helps to know that you could make a lot of money when you're healthy again. It's something to look forward to, but it's not something to dwell on either because you have a lot of work between now and then. And I will say, we've talked about this before, not everyone who gets better wants to go back to the life they had before. I don't know what you do. I don't know how you feel about the work you did in the past or anything like that, but sometimes people get better and they don't want to go back into the career they had before. And that would mean potentially making less money, starting a new career path for you, doing something like I'm doing, which is crazy, which is starting to build a business. So, I mean, like maybe you'll make a lot of money and maybe you won't, but it'll be your choice at that point. And I would, one thing I did, and I would advocate for everyone, when you think about your future life, I would try not to fixate on specifics. I would try not to say like, oh, when I go back to work, I can make this much money again, or, oh, I'm going to go back to my career or back to my same company. Or I am definitely going to do this exercise, or I wouldn't get into specifics. What I would do is I would learn to get excited about having options again. Because right now you don't have options. Right now you don't have the option to work. You don't have the option to build a company. You don't have the option of what type of exercise you're going to do. The really exciting thing for me that I think aligns more with the healing mindset is instead looking forward to the ability to choose how to spend your time. Look forward to getting to choose to work, to having options with what you do with your time, to get to choose how you spend your time and how you make a living. Because I think that's going to be more rewarding than fixating on something very specific that isn't tangible yet. But instead, by focusing on the ability to have options in the future, I think you're going to notice a lot sooner when you have those options back in your life. Even if those specific things you dwelled on haven't materialized for you yet, having the option is a much more like open mindset approach to getting excited about the future and healing. Like right now, you had the option of moving. Maybe this isn't an exactly perfect story, Raf, but I want to say you had the option of moving. When you were bedbound, it doesn't sound like you would have had the option of moving out of your last apartment to somewhere new. Being bedbound would have meant you had to stay where you are because you physically would not have been able to cope with a move, right? So like you already have more of these options in your life again to make things better for yourself. Mm. Mm. Oh, hi, Sky 5. Welcome back. Thank you. I make these. I have fun making jewelry. It's been something I've done for years and years. I do it on and off when I have the time, but hand chains have been my latest little jewelry creation. Thanks. Oh, hi, Fidela. I'm not sure I pronounced that right. You can tell me if I didn't. Mindset is so key. That's why I talk about it. It's why it's my primary topic on this channel, the healing mindset. Let's see, Sky 5, it's definitely difficult to love yourself all the time. You feel like you have a good run, and then all of a sudden you feel really awful. Totally normal. And it's not a problem. Like any sort of personal development where you're working on how you feel about yourself, you're going to have bumps in the road. You're going to have little regressions like that. And what's helped me is not framing them as like, oh, I'm off the wagon. Oh, I hate myself again. Oh, man, I messed up. But instead, reframing it as saying, like, oh, okay, I have more work to do on this. This little, whatever derailed me, whatever bumped me off my self love wagon, uh, is just pointing out where there's still work to do on my mindset. And that's okay. You can just get back to working on that, and you can uncover that next layer of the onion of what is holding you back from self-love and self-worth and self-compassion, and keep moving forward. That's what it's all about. The same mindset for working on personal development, for working on self-love, is the same mindset that's going to help you when working on your healing journey, as you have to bounce from doctor to doctor to find what you need, as you have to try different supplements and treatments and change what you're doing every few months as your health needs change. It's also the same thing that helps us as we navigate life and relationships that are constantly evolving and changing and improving at work and our jobs. We're always constantly evolving the important parts of ourselves and our lives and our worlds and our communities. And it's that same open mindset, that same healing mindset that keeps us going and keeps us making forward progress in small incremental doses. Oh, Jamie, I like this. You like visiting your former child in your mind's eye and telling them you loved them and showing them compassion was a good starting place. And then you worked up to your current age, and then eventually you used the mirror. Oh, that is so cool, Jamie. I've never heard about that tool being used quite that way. I've definitely worked with coaches and programs that have you visit your inner child. And I've also found those really helpful at times with certain things. For anyone who's not familiar with exercises like that, what they do is it's usually through a guided meditation where you are doing a form of meditation and you are guided to a place, and then your inner child is revealed to you, and it's how you envision yourself as a child who's feeling a certain way, going through a certain situation, your inner child who was wanting things that they couldn't get. And you, as your adult self, can give that child what they needed. You can give them love. You can give them compassion. You can give them acceptance. You can give them attention. You can give them love. And that process of meeting your inner child's needs is very fulfilling because you're also giving those things to yourself at the same time. So I've done it more in that isolated, specific, like just work with the child directly and give it what it needs way. But Jamie, that's cool. I've never thought about doing that progress with older and older child selves at different points in my life. That sounds really cool. And then eventually doing that directly to yourself in the mirror. That sounds super, super powerful. That sounds like a great activity for anyone on here to begin practicing. I can't see anything bad about doing more inner child work like that. That's super cool. Let's see, Sky-Fi there. Yeah, I think we're all better at giving advice to others than to ourselves. I sit on here and talk, and it might be easy for people to assume that I have all this stuff figured out and I'm perfect at it. And I'm not. Like I shared earlier, just a couple months ago, I had a week or two where I was really struggling with my self-worth because my paycheck went from X dollars to zero by choice. But still, I had this unexpected rough patch of feeling unworthy because of my paycheck. And, I have the tools to get past that and work through it. And I did, but it still happens. It's all about just saying, okay, I got more work to do here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to reap the benefits of doing that work. Get on with your life. Yep. Yep. Jamie, you dislike children. Or you can't dislike children unless you're a real meanie. It's easy to dislike yourself. You can't dislike your child's self. That's a good way. Actually, that's a good justification for it. Yeah. I mean, children are just doing the best they can. They don't know better because they're children. We have to, it's kind of another spin on the whole like inner child work is that you get to be the parent that your inner child needed and didn't get, right? We can have the best parents in the world. I didn't, but we can have the best parents in the world and with the best intentions, and we can still have unmet needs as children. And it's okay. It's about developing the tools as adults to meet those unmet needs in ourselves so that we can become fully actualized and fully realized. Fadela, okay, I pronounced it very well. Glad to hear that. What was my approach to work on the emotional healing? All right, Fadela. Oh, I mispronounced Raph. Sorry, I read the next comment. I didn't think that there were other ways to pronounce it. You're going to have to tell me. Okay, Raph. I'm saying that wrong, clearly. You're going to have to tell me how to pronounce that. Can you type it out? Like, what does it sound like? And then I'll get it right from now on. Okay, bye, Sky 5. I understand. Go rest. Take care of yourself. Fadela, my approach for working on the emotional healing was so many things. It first began by working with this coach, Simla, I talked about, and her implanting in me the idea that how I felt mattered. I mean, literally for my entire life up to that point, for all 25 years of my life up to that point, I had basically been taught that how I felt and what I wanted didn't matter. And Simla was the first person to say, maybe it does, and maybe it matters so much that your health depends on it. Your health depends on you caring about yourself and your wants and your needs and your desires and your thoughts and your feelings. And I became open to that idea. I didn't believe it yet. I didn't believe it at all yet. And it began with me meditating. And through meditation and opening myself up to these other experiences and to creating, to going deep into the parasympathetic nervous system, the nervous system response, I began having experiences that showed me how important it was to care about myself. And the meditation continued to open that up for me and started to scratch at the surface of caring about myself. And, it's okay. So there's what I did to develop the healing mindset in myself, Fadela, my approach to working on the emotional healing, how I did that back then, like 7, 8 years ago, however long it was, wasn't very efficient. It took me a very, very long time to develop that. So that's why I started this YouTube channel, because how I went about it then took so long and was so hard. I wouldn't recommend anyone does it that way. Instead, I want you guys to experience the benefits of the healing mindset a lot faster than what I did. So honestly, what I would do, Fadela, is I would go back to the beginning of my channel. I have videos from 2017. I would go back and start watching them from the beginning. Now, these Q&As I do right now every week, these things are an hour or longer each week, okay? That's a lot of video to watch. My old videos from like 2017 and early 2018, they were all short. They were typically 5 minutes or less, okay? So you can watch a couple of those videos when you're not feeling brain fogged. And I would just start going through those videos and maybe try to watch even just 1 or 2 a day, or a few more if you have the energy and the time and the attention span and no brain fog and all that. I would watch those videos and start incorporating the lessons learned and start just exposing yourself to what the healing mindset is on a daily basis. I think frequent, repeated exposure of the healing mindset is what's going to help you the fastest. Because in each video, I talk about different aspects of it. And some of those things are going to resonate with you a lot. And those things that resonate with you are the areas you should be focusing on. So if this video really resonates with you, watch it again the next day. Watch it again every day for a week or something like that. Just really start to immerse yourself in it. And I would come to these live Q&As if you're able to. And even if you don't have questions for me, just I think talking to other people and having these conversations where everyone is kind of in this healing mindset and trying to work on their health from that place is going to help with that repetition and immersion in the healing mindset. Let's see. Oh, I should have done this before Sky 5 hopped off. Let's see. Oh, I love that. That things are resonating with you already. Makes my day when I get to hear that stuff. Let's see. Yeah, so that would be my recommendation is just start watching the videos. Watch 1 or 2 or 5 a day and come to these, ask questions, and just start immersing yourself in what it looks like to have the healing mindset. And over time, you will begin to develop it. And as you have questions, I'm here, even if you don't want to wait for Thursday, if you just comment on one of my videos, I'm going to come and respond to it, usually within like a day or so. Yeah, these videos are here for you guys to use as your tools. Oh, I say ref instead of RAF. I feel like I'm saying RAF, but maybe, is it Rafe? Oh, this is so hard to do over text, isn't it? Oh, Roxy. Hi, Roxy. It's okay. The replay's available. Oh, she'll be rewatching. Yay, Stacy. Okay, you guys, before more people hop off, I want to announce something. I'm going to put this in the description of this video later on as well. I'm starting well, maybe I shouldn't say starting. I am revamping a Facebook group. Okay. This is a community that I got started a while ago and never really did anything with. And I want to be connecting with you guys and communicating with you more than just once a week. I would love to have like real conversations and be sharing information with you daily. It's hard for me to do a video daily, but I can write up some text and share that with you on a daily basis. So what I'm going to do, it's a private Facebook group. I'm going to post the link to it here. And I want you to request to join. And I'm absolutely going to approve everybody's request to join here. Let's see. Here's the group. It's new. I don't know what I'm doing with groups. I'm probably going to need to moderate it. I think I have it set up so that I will have to approve any posts that come in. Don't let that deter you from posting. Go ahead and post, and I'll do my best to like get people's posts approved ASAP. It's really important to me to keep all of the conversation really focused on the healing mindset. And I feel like that's going to take a little bit of education for us together as to like how to talk about that in a really constructive, supportive way, because I've seen so many online chronic illness groups just devolve into really unhelpful posts and comments and things. And I want to do everything I can to keep this a really supportive community. So I'm hoping all of you are on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, let me know, because if enough people aren't on Facebook, I would consider setting up a community that's not on Facebook so everyone can be a part of it. But yeah, I hope to be interacting with you guys on Facebook in that group. The link is in the chat there on a daily basis going forward. Yeah, so that's the big announcement, the Facebook group. I should have said that at the beginning and at the end, but this is how it went. Let's see. All right, I announced the Facebook group. Go send me requests. Go request to join. I'm going to be posting something in there every day. I may or may not be doing this next Thursday. I'm not posting a link to it or anything because I'm going to be on vacation. I'm going to be in Iceland. And I don't know what the internet situation is going to be because we're going to be somewhere pretty remote. But if the internet is good enough, I will hop on and do one. And if you guys can join me, that'd be great. If not, I'll just come prepped to talk about things. And you can watch it at your leisure. But I will be getting back into it the week after that, for sure, in December. Let's see. Ooh, shoot. Yes, Jamie. I am in Iceland. We're flying out to Iceland tomorrow. We get there first thing Saturday morning. Oh my goodness. And then we're there until the following Saturday. We're spending 2 nights in Reykjavik. I guess we're spending like Saturday, Sunday night there in Reykjavik. And then we spend the next 5 nights at a resort that's like southeast of the city because I want to be away from the city lights, because the real big reason for this trip for me is to see the Aurora Borealis. It's been a bucket list item of mine since I was a little girl to see the Aurora Borealis in person. So we're going during like prime Aurora viewing time. It's a new moon. It's winter, so there's lots of dark night skies. And yeah, I hope to report back and like share some pictures with you guys. Jamie, I don't think that's happening this trip. Jamie, that's really, really funny. Oh, I'm not from Iceland. I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm from middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, in the US. Oh. All right, Roxy requested already. Yay. Oh yeah, I've never been to Iceland, so it's another country I've never been to before. There's a lot of exciting things about this trip, and this trip could not come at a better time. My boyfriend's been so insanely busy and stressed out with work. This is a really, really good time for him to like take it down a few notches and decompress. Oh, Roxy, I love that you're gonna be on Facebook just for this group. We'll make it worth your time. We should buy island. What does that mean? Oh, yay. More requests. All right. Yeah, oh my gosh, we're going late here. It's been an hour 15 about. So, Rafe? Am I saying, is it Rafe? Rafe? You're going to have to coach me on how to say that. I'm going to head out. I hope to see requests from all of you guys in the Facebook group. And hopefully we'll do this again next week. If not, we'll definitely do it in 2 weeks. So, yay! More people requested to join. So excited to be with you guys in there. All right, I'm heading out, sending you love and health. I'm here if you guys need me in the Facebook group or even just in comments on the videos on YouTube. All right, take care, you guys. Take care of yourselves. Mwah.